Hello,
Hey,
everyone, and happy Wednesday. Yes, it's finally Wednesday. You made it to the hump day of the week. High five to all of you all, and high five club members. High five to everybody that's in a part of the personal development AM and in the PM. Yes, we do it twice a day. And we want to make sure we may even sneak in the middle of the day one day. We just don't know when yet. But that brings me to our tonight's subject, a blind desire. How many times in life have you been talking about the thing that you wanted to have, but you weren't quite sure how to put your finger on it? You know that you want to do something. There are people who wanted to be actors, who've always wanted to be that actor. They've gone into the bathroom and they start acting the part. Or the singers. Have you ever seen anybody that takes this right here? This is the microphone. This is the most favorite microphone of most people in their house. Yes, it's a brush. It's a hairbrush. And you sit there and you start to just singing those songs. You belting them out in the bathroom. You're belting them out in the shower, and you're just having so much fun. But that's been such a blind desire that you have, but you've done absolutely nothing with it. How many people know that they have a blind desire? In the book of the Think and Grow Rich, there was this guy by the name of C.J. Barnes. He played for the longest time like he didn't want to meet. I think this guy's name is Thomas Edison. Some of you all may have heard about him. And he was looking to say, you know what? I've been wanting to do it. And Mr. Edison doesn't know that I'm going to be his business partner. If that's not a blind desire to let someone else know through mental conditioning, through the wavelets, through the winds, that person is going to be your business partner. Elon Musk couldn't know that Samantha is planning on working with him. She knows that she is. They're going to be out there and they're going to be best friends. Me and Jeff Bezos. Oh, yeah. He doesn't know I'm going to be his business partner. He has not a clue. Somebody doesn't know yet that they're planning to be Kelly's business partner. They just haven't told Kelly yet on their way to making $10 billion. Somebody
woo!
has a desire, but who is it that has that blind desire that you've done nothing with? The question of it is what is it and when will you get started? So if you can type that in the chat as we talk about this subject about blind desire, I want to see what are some of your questions about it. And please share this video and hit the like, love, wow button. Even if you don't like us, hit that button. So Samantha, let's start with you today. What does that look like? Blind desire and some of those thoughts in your mind.
So, what comes to mind for me is being willfully blind, right? So,
Oh,
you're aware, but you choose not to be aware. And maybe you choose not to be aware because you don't know what to do next. And I think that's how I relate to it is that, I know that there's things that I should do and there's things that I want to do, but I don't know the players that should be involved. I don't know who to ask to get to level up. I don't know who to bring into my circle to get to that step. So what I'll do is I'll go around that tree and I'll continue on the path towards my desire, where if I would have figured out a way to get to that piece or climb that tree, it might level me up sooner.
mm,
So I really think that it is, in some cases, it's willful blindness for me. I'm saying for me, it's willful
I love
blindness.
that.
But for others, it just may be you have the burning desire within yourself. You know it's there, but for some reason, and I think the reason could be outside sources, you may not go. You may not follow that road. You may follow the road with all the noise where everybody says, oh, you have to do this or you should do this, or people keep talking to you about how you're already doing this when really you should be going the other way towards your desire. So I see this in many ways. I see this from a okay, I'm aware of it, like my perspective, to I'm aware of it, but there's so much noise around me that I don't know how the heck to go the other way. And I want to go the other way. I do. But I still have this other side where people are pulling me almost like on a tug of war. So, I mean, I think this that you bring in masterminds. I think the best way to deal with my situation is to bring a mastermind of people and ask people that have done something similar in a way, like in a certain way. Like we're talking about the science of getting rich. I always say that because everything I try to do, I try to duplicate of somebody else and put my spin on it, right? So I think that if you're blocked, you have to find a group of people who have done it before. And if you don't know where to find that group of people, you need to start asking people. You need to start networking more and asking people, hey, you know, have you ever done this? And not be afraid. Otherwise, you're being willfully blind to your desire and you're holding yourself back. And I hate to be that person that's negative. I'm not negative, I swear. But I, you know, at the end of the day, we we are our worst enemy and we're our biggest
Mhm.
failures. And that's what I always say. And I believe that. I believe that we are what holds us back. We are what holds us back. You can never wait for someone else. You always have to do for you first. And you don't need anybody's approval. So that's my take on it. Back to you, Lester.
I thought Mamapreneur was going to jump in here.
Oh, I
I
was just
will.
going to cue
I
it off.
like that, blind desire really can originate, brain disturbances, if you will, where with people that have their desires, those are clear, they are concrete. So blind desires, that really positions people to maintain and act in a role that you're blind to experiences and opportunities that can actually help you hone in on the focus that you need to cultivate the desire that you have. And in cultivating self-awareness, that's going to develop your desire. That's imperative. Sometimes, though, a blind desire, if you were to expand that to a blind ambition, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because blind ambition can sometimes allow people to block out that noise that Samantha was talking about. It blocks out everything that's unwanted because you're so blind to what's going on around you. You're so dead on with where you need to grow and what you need to do in order to reach what you're looking to reach, what you're looking to do, how you're looking to show up. I think when you're able to block out that noise, then that allows everybody to do what seems impossible. But it's the ability of being able to maintain, what it is you're being blind to. If it's just a blind desire because you haven't been able to focus on exactly what your desire really is and cultivate an insane self-awareness to do that, well, that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is a blind desire could be absolutely complemented with a blind ambition where you're able to block out everything in order to just stay really focused on what your desire is and be able to make the impossible possible, where that's kind of fun. I don't know, blind anything prevents people from seeing things. So that can be, whether that's positive or negative, kind of like, what else do we talk about? If whatever you're thinking, you're right, positive or negative, this applies to that. Blind, blind desire, blind ambition, blind whatever. It prevents you from seeing things. Whether or not you use that for your, for your growth or against your growth, I guess that's entirely up to us. But yeah.
Kelly said it best a moment ago, and I don't know if you all caught it or not, because sometimes our blindness catches us. She talked about having that blind desire, and we all know, and I want you all to see, sometimes it's the distractions. Distractions will blind you from what it is that you really want. How many people today, let me ask this strange question, had an opportunity to do something that was beyond your comfort zone that you let just go by you? So many times, every day we have opportunities. Did you know that? There's not a day in your life that you don't have an opportunity, but you're blinded by your distractions. See, that desire that you had to be that entrepreneur. I was once told a story that when we were kids, especially when I was a kid, I used to get out there and shovel snow. And I would shovel it, but I would just go about it and never thought how I can make a business out of this. If I would have gone to my neighbors and asked them for a couple of dollars, I would have been an entrepreneur the day I started my first business. I wouldn't have had to go to entrepreneur school, business school, any of that. All I had to do was open my mouth and take advantage of my desire to want to become an entrepreneur. Somebody always wants to know, how do you get started? Shoveling snow could have done it, mowing lawns could have done it, or there's a story that Gordon So talks about, buying two bikes. If you would have bought one bicycle and rented it to someone else, you would have been an entrepreneur. We use excuses why we don't follow our desire because we're blinded by the what, the how, the who, the when, the where. You know, they'll tell you your store has to be in the best location. Well, you are in the best location wherever you are. there's
Right.
no better, there's no better location than to follow your desire than where you are. Because everywhere you go, you take you. So, what is it that's holding you back from realizing to uncovering your blindness and going after that thing that you desire the most? Sometimes your desire creeps up in your dreams. Sometimes it creeps up in that office that, Samantha and I were talking about yesterday. And if you don't know where that place is, go back to yesterday's show. We talked about having having that, your greatest thoughts in this particular closed room. But what is it that's stopping you from going to that thing that you desire, from materializing it? You can do the materializing just if you start out with that. What do we call that, Kelly?
Yeah. And you know what's funny that you tie it into that is because I think, whether it's blind anything, I think if we refer to it as a blind spot, blind spots occur when we allow our emotions and our thoughts, usually unconsciously, to dictate and influence results in our behaviors and our choices. So again, for the negative, for the positive, either way, that's going to happen. So when there's that belief, that's where that blind faith, blind desire, blind ambition, those blind spots are going to come in some handy, something serious, because that's going to keep you blind to any emotional crap that's coming in. And what do I mean by that? Emotional meaning emotional ties to someone saying, there's no way you're going to do that. Well, I can do it better. I've got someone that can do this over here. Or you know what? You're on a roll. Well, guess what? We're going to put a group together over here, and who knows? Like there all sorts of things can happen. But the thing is can you tune it out? Cut off the emotional ties, know what you're set out to do, and use those blind spots, if you will, to move you forward. And it's a funny thing where belief comes in, because that belief is what is going to keep the emotional ties from those blind spots coming to you with negative results. But
that's funny. But that's one of the things you're saying, that we get so emotionally tied to something. There are some people out here, and I'm in full agreement, that will work 30 and 40 years of their life and think their opportunities have been blinded. You are so emotionally tied to being that person, whatever that vocation was, and you're being that person all of the time. And all of a sudden, when you're done with that vocation, that dream, that desire is still burning in you. Why do you tell yourself, I'm too old? When there are people who are graduating from college at 90 years of age, they're actors that have been waiting to act, and they've done some of their best acting after they have retired from whatever that job was seeking. See, we always look for the most blind spots of our desires are, what would you call them, Samantha? Lies and alibis and false accusations.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, you're lying to yourself. That's the worst. I think that's the biggest thing. You lying to yourself is so damaging. Um, and you give yourself a false reality. And it's sad because people can sense that off of you, and people can read into it, and people listen and people observe, right? So
Mm,
they can see what's happening, and they can read into the underlying meaning of somebody's nonverbal communication. So don't lie to yourself. Don't hide the fact that you have this burning desire and that you have a path that you'd like to go, and yet you choose not to go. And you tell yourself all these different things. And you're right. There are people in my class. I'll give you an example. I have people that are my students that are 60 and above, 70 and above, that are going into the legal field. And, sometimes I hear my friend's mom, sometimes my mom, sometimes uh, others that say, oh, I'm too old. I can't do anything. That's you. That's you. You have a desire, but you just, something in your mind has caused you to believe that you can't do it. And until you're willing to open your mind to find out what the heck is standing in your way, the only thing that's standing in your way is you.
Yep.
Right? So it's sad, and it's actually upsetting me. I'll be honest with you. I'm tearing up at this because I see the potential in so many people. I see the potential around me, and I see the potential around me, but yet what I see is that unless those people get some coaching or are willing to open up, they're lost souls. And it actually really sucks. So, yeah.
Angelo put here, some people wait too long for the opportunity, and that opportunity slips by them. But guess what? There's another opportunity.
Oh, there's an opportunity almost every minute, almost every hour, but your eyes are shut, or you don't
Yes.
believe you can do it, or you're fearful, or you're lying to yourself, or whatever that excuse is that stands in your way, or you're so concerned about what somebody else thinks. Who cares? No one else matters but you. And I know that sounds selfish and terrible, and people are like,
Yeah,
what
but
the hell? But you at the end of the day, you need to do you. And if anyone stands in your way, if you give someone else that power to stand in your way or to have that much control over your mind, you need to check yourself in the mirror, and you need to talk to people, because that's not okay. That's not okay. That's borderline, like almost like a type of abuse, and it's not right. So
actually it is. It's like
yeah,
self-abuse. Blind spots could also be seen as you know, aspects that limit us. If we haven't learned how to turn it into a strength, that you bring weaknesses that limit us. They limit our behavior, they limit our results, they limit how we act, they limit our beliefs, they limit everything. But it's understanding that everyone has the ability to intentionally turn these into strengths. Um, that is it. It's you. They can either work for you or against you, and they're going to do one of the two. It's
Hmm.
just deciding what that's going to be. I don't know. I think it's for me. Um, it's a real powerful feeling to know that I am 100% control and responsible for my life's outcomes.
And that is so true for each and every one of us. We have to understand that we may be able to change our opportunities in our lives, our desires. When we're blinded by our true desire, that thing that we want, we have to learn how to not limit ourselves because guess what? When someone tells you you limit yourself, do you realize that you can raise the limits? There is nothing to stop you from raising your limit. If you have gone as far as you can go a little bit further. How many coaches, mentors, sponsors who've ever taught you that you can extend who you are? See, when you're blinded, you don't believe that you can go any further. It's something that says, I can't do it. I can't do it. The word I can't simply puts it in your mindset that gets into your subconscious mind telling you that it won't be done. So, what are you learning from the inside out? You know, Samantha has her talk show, and Kelly has her talk show, and I have my talk show. But each one of us stretch the limits of our limitations. Even today, as far limited as we may think at this moment, in the next moment may be something that will surprise the heck out of you. It could be simple as a phone call, a doorbell ringing, or just that aha moment. The only reason that you don't see it because you're blinded by the opportunity. And I was just, telling, my group here, there's a song that's playing in my head, it's
Manfred
playing so loud.
Man.
Blinded by the light. I don't know why that song jumped into my head, but I can hear it playing so loud because we're blinded by our own light, our own goodness, our own grace. But we have to understand that we call it a universal, what they call it, universal spirit that's actually out there or universal intelligence. Just think of whatever your universal intelligence is. You can't see it, but you're believing it. You don't have to stop at the opportunity to ask that universal intelligence any question at all. It's like when you're sitting there in that quiet room, again, Samantha and I favorite room. Sometimes Kelly be rushing there. when, when we know that that room exists, I don't want you all to be blinded by your own success, to have that fear. That's a blind opportunity. A blind desire is fear. Have
Yep.
the faith. We talk about it in the book of Think and Grow Rich. I want you to read that because we're going to kind of deep dive more into Think and Grow Rich because you all may have thought that we got away from it, but all of these subjects that we talk about are all found in the same book. Every one of these subjects are found in this simple book. Simple, simple, simple. It's found right there.
We've been breaking this TGR down in more ways than one for like what?
Ever.
For a long time.
So, Kelly, your final thoughts.
Master your blind spots and take your life to a new level.
Samantha, since though I didn't have to wait on the crickets this time, I was prepared for her.
Take off the blindfold. Take off the blindfold. It's only temporary.
Never limit your desires to your blind spot.
High five.
Everyone.